This is one of the first times that we've seen the majority of the Straw Hat crew united and together, not for one purpose or goal, because we've seen that before, but with one enemy in mind.
One Piece chapter 472, down!
Brings a smile to my face. Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, and I'm here to bring you another review on the awesome and action-filled and really one of the first times we've seen almost the entire team work together tale of One Piece. Now, our last chapter, of course, started off volume 49, and really the end of the chapter, we wound up having everything with Absalom and Nami come full circle as she wound up kind of getting some measure of revenge upon him, and then sicking Lola on him afterwards, and we presume then afterwards going to go and join the Straw Hats. The Straw Hats, though, which had, at the end of volume 48, had been, pretty much handily defeated and knocked out, were then standing six wide across, basically about to go and tangle with this giant beast, Oars. And that's where things left off. Things actually wind up picking up. We see a brief bit of Nami, and she kind of gets filled in on what's going on, that Oars is there, blah, blah, blah. That's what some of the destruction's coming from. That's what's happened while she's been knocked out, right? And then she's just kind of like, all right, Lola, I'll leave you to Absalom. And before she is going to go and actually join up with the rest of the crew, Nami, who's got dollar signs for eyes, literally sometimes, that's the way Oda draws her, is going to go to the treasure room. She's like, I'm not going to leave empty-handed now that I know where it is. So she comes upon, oh, great, it's unlocked. Opens it up, and you see a tumbleweed go by. And you're like, what the hell? It's just this desolate, it looks like Iraq, just like wherever you see stuff on TV about it, just usually desert, right? And it just looks like this big empty room is the point. And what the hell is going on, So then we go and we see Perona over on their ship, and she's got guys loading food on there. She's got zombies doing stuff. We'll get to that later on, though, because that winds up actually what happens is just towards the end of the chapter. So anyway, the whole real meat and potatoes, as I like to call it, of this chapter is the fight between the Straw Hats and them trying to work together to take down Oars. Now, at the beginning of the chapter, in the introduction, in this review, when I went and I said, in one of the first times we've seen them all work together, it is. I mean, we've seen them help each other out when they were all fighting for a common goal to save Robin, for instance, in Enies lobby. But very rarely do we get to see everybody in action. It's usually one or two, maybe three, and then a couple of them are trying to do this while the other ones are doing that. And then many times they get split off, and there's not very many opportunities where we see the majority, if not all, the crew fighting together. Now, Oars is as big as a goddamn building, right? Okay, so it makes sense to put everybody together to take him down. But you've got, some of the beasts here, too. You've got Zoro, you've got Sanji, you've got Chopper, you've got Frankie, you've got Robin, and they're all going and coming together at him, of course, and Usopp as well, and they all talk about it, and Zoro's like, hey, how about we start tossing him around instead of him tossing us around like he's been doing? And they're like, Robin's like, he's pretty big, man, I don't know, And Usopp's like, are you kidding me? But anyway, Zoro's whole idea of being able to take them down winds up coming to fruition a little bit later on. First, we wind up getting Frankie, and he goes and he's like, Zoro, Sanji, grab my legs, pick me up. And there's just this hilarious picture of them. I'm going to have to go back to it here so you can see. This funny picture of them holding him up, right? Then Chopper's sitting on Frankie's head, like a damn Transformer. Anybody who ever had any of the Transformers, like the Constructicons, those are the ones that come to mind, that pull together to form Devastator. It was 5 unique Transformers. One was the body, one was turned into each one of the arms, and one turned into each one of the legs. Transformers eventually, with the Generation 1, came up with several other Autobot and Decepticon guys that could pull together, teams of 5 or 6 or whatever. Anyway, that's exactly what it reminds me of, because Usopp is hanging onto Frankie's right arm, and Chopper's sitting on his head. Zoro and Sanji are kind of like the legs of this thing he's calling Big Emperor. He calls it docking formation something number 6, right? And then he's like, Robin, come here, you gotta be the other arm. And Robin's just like, I'm sorry, but I don't even want to, I want to pretend like I don't even know you right now. It's so freaking hilarious what she says. She goes, I find it embarrassing as a human being. And then she goes, and then and then after she doesn't do it, they wind up having to go and break apart. And Zoro was the other one that was questioning himself afterwards, like, what was I actually doing? I'm just going to forget about it now. But Robin goes and she's like, don't ever ask me to dock with any of you again. And I liked it because it was kind of a funny, almost like backward sort of pervert or sexual innuendo, you know? Don't ask me to dock you, don't ask me to sleep with any of you again. That's not really what you was going for, but it was the way it was said. Don't ask me to dock with any of you again, ever again, you know? And that's that's the vibe I got from it. So very funny. That was your comic relief kind of right in the middle of the chapter. But then everybody starts just working together. Zoro winds up going and trying to take out the one leg of Oars with some slashes. He then goes and takes and stabs his swords into the pillar, the huge nunchuck pillar thing that Frankie was using earlier, and says, hey, I got to use this bad boy. And he goes and runs up and he's like, listen, when he deflects with his one hand, I need you to go and clutch him and take him out. You know, pull him down, Robin. Just telling Robin. Zoro's pulling, he's a leader, he's a general, he's your soldier, right? So he goes and then says, hey, you know, and tells Sanji, hey, curly eyebrows, throw me up in the air. And he's like, dude, you got this big pillar. He's like, listen, man, if you can't handle it, bro. And Sanji's like, the fuck I can't, come on over here, boy. He throws him up in the air. While this is all going on and Zoro's trying to go and get him to deflect or to get off balance with this pillar he's swinging at him, then we go and we've got, coming from the other end, of course, Robin's going to go and take him and clutch him and take him out or whatever. She winds up going and growing up this giant tree arm thing or whatever. Absolutely wonderful seeing the whole team working together, though. Then, which I thought was pretty funny, you've got, and then, of course, Usopp is firing stars at him, slick oil star, which throws him off balance and everything like that. But then you go and Frankie, who's like the cyborg builder, shipwright of the crew, he's got Chopper handing him planks and he's building and putting together in like super fast fashion, something straight out of like a cartoon. I can't wait to see it in the anime. Building a fucking stairway, not to heaven, a stairway to Oar's face, so he and Chopper can both simultaneously go and give him a double thunder punch, boom, right in the face and knock him off balance, right? All this is going on, but it's all happening at the same time. Sanji sees that he's only got one leg that he's standing on, so Sanji comes over and he just fucking boom, just kicks his ass, you know, goes and nails that thing and hits him with, you know, whatever, some kind of French word that he winds up using to take out his leg. And the next thing you know, Oars is upside down, falling on his damn head, winds up crashing and breaking through half the castle. He'd already decimated most of the shit as it was. But the whole point to it was it was a great example of teamwork and seeing this half a dozen crew members working together. And what I liked about it is that it was minus Luffy, because honestly, let's face it, Luffy a lot of times is the problem and not the solution. He goes running off and doing his own thing, and he's not very good at playing by the rules, formulating and carrying out a plan. His plan is always, what I'm going to do right now, that's all I'm going to think about until it's done. And that's a double-edged sword. It can be good, and it can be bad. We've seen when it can be bad, and we've also seen that it usually turns out good. The bottom line is, though, is that he very much, for a captain, is not a very good leader when it comes to making everybody work together as a cohesive unit. And this, for me, was the first time that I've really seen the majority of the crew work together for one goal, and that was taking down Oars. And I mean, even some of the zombies that are in the background seeing this shit, they're like, dude, thousands of people couldn't take that thing down. What the fuck? And 6 people just took him down, right? 4 dudes, a cyborg, and a hot chick, right? You know, very, very cool stuff. The chapter winds up wrapping up, though, and I thought this was actually a real nice little thing that they threw in here at the end. We go back to show what's going on with Perona, and she's got the zombies loading stuff up on the ship, and blah, blah, blah. Hurry up, you lifeless corpses, whatever, blah, blah. And the next thing you know, you go and you see the shadow of, and I thought over here when I saw the little legs and the big upper body, I thought that I recognized that look and everything, right? Because we've only seen him once or twice now, mind you, and it was a couple hundred chapters ago. It's our boy Kuma, one of the 7 warlords, the Shichibukai, 7 warlords of the seas over here. And dude is over there with his Bible in hand. He's just like, hey, is Moria here? And it was funny because one of the guys is like, oh my god, a bear, you know? And he's like, whoa. And then he says, you're not so far off. So anyway, I don't know what Kuma's deal is. Don't really know. Bartholomew Kuma is actually his name. Sorry, I looked at the title for the next chapter, but very, very cool stuff. So ultimately, that wraps around to my chapter question. Brothers and sisters, what do you think about Oda and his use of the majority of the crew working together to take down this common enemy, this common foe, I guess you would say? Do you think it was well done? Did you enjoy it? And can you think of any other instances that I've forgotten where everyone wound up working together in unison to take down one enemy or one particular, obstacle that was in their path? Let me know what your answer to that question is in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next one, Nation. Thank you for watching, and remember to follow me on my Twitter, my Facebook, and my other channels.